So you eventually moved to New York, like you were saying, and you're experiencing the culture firsthand.
Yeah, I went for a weekend with one of my friends, and as we were coming into the city, we went up on a Friday night, and the plan was to stay till Sunday night. And I remember coming across, I think it was the Verrazano Bridge, and we were listening to a radio show, and it was the Mr. Magic Marley Marl radio show, and it was all
Wow.
rap, and it was amazing. And I wasn't driving, my friend was, and I looked at her and I said, I'm moving here. And she said, cool. And I don't think she thought I was serious, but I went home, and on Monday I gave notice at my job and rented a U-Haul and packed all my shit. And I was living in New York within a week and a half.
That's crazy. Did you have
Yes.
money saved up?
No.
How did you do it?
I've done some really stupid shit in my life, like really stupid shit. I was 23 at the time, so I didn't think about stuff like that.
Just on a
I
whim,
might have been.
full of dreams, basically.
Yep. I figured it out. And I did. I figured it out. I ended up doing sublets. I learned that the cheapest way to live in New York in the 80s was to sublet apartments. And people who would like be traveling for work, or students during the summer, or, whoever, they would sublet their apartment, and it would be much cheaper, and you would be obligated, and it was already furnished, so you didn't need furniture, because I didn't have any anyway, so that was a plus. And you would have a place to live for like 3 to 6 months at a time, and you'd move around a lot. But that was great for me. I still love that. Like, moving gives me energy. I love when I'm in a different place. I wouldn't want to do it every 3 months anymore, but if I could move every year, I'd really be happy. I would enjoy that.
Wow. Especially if you don't have a lot of stuff to move, like as far as furniture
Correct.
goes, makes it a lot easier,
I do
you know?
now. I got a 3,500, actually bigger. I've probably got a 5,000 square foot house right now. I have a lot of
Sheesh.
shit. So I would have to either burn the house down
Right.
or do one hell of a downsizing. But if I could do that, I would love that. I would love to live in a different place every year and get to know new people and new places and new restaurants. I'm a
Yeah.
foodie. So I love food.
So you moved to Montreal eventually to work for a liquor company,
I
right?
did. I
And you
did.
make a ton
1987.
load of money,
I did
shitload of money.
a load of money. And that mattered to me back then. Like, to be clear, my goal at that point in time was whoever had the most toys when they die wins. I had a t-shirt that said that. That's how much I believed that. Like, money was all that mattered to me, because I had grown up so poor, and I learned that money was freedom, and I learned that money was escape, and I learned that money could buy privilege. And that's what mattered to me. So the job, I was selling advertising space because I was making money. I was working for Time Magazine at that point in time. And, I was the friend who could take all of her friends to the Bahamas for the weekend because I was making money. And because I was doing sales and I was really good at it, I was winning all the prizes. So I was winning like trips to the Bahamas. I won a cell phone. Remember when, so you might not because you're young, but cell phones used to look like a brick, like they were the size of
Hmm.
a brick.
With the
And
long antenna.
I won a
Right.
sales contest, and I won a phone. I won a Rolex. Like, whatever the sales contest was, I was somehow always able to be the person in the company that outdid everybody. I was also the youngest person in sales in that company, which was surprising. But I hated sales. Like, to be clear, I still hate it today, all these years later.
But it was just kind of a means to an end,
Exactly.
basically. Got you.
Exactly. So I moved to Montreal, and I learned while I was in Montreal that money ain't shit. So I no longer have that, he who has the most toys when they die wins attitude. Living in Montreal was incredible. And the reason it was incredible, I lived there during a war, Desert Storm, I think it was. And Montreal is right across the border from Vermont. So I would get the 10 o'clock news on Canadian TV, and then I'd get the 11 o'clock news from Vermont. So I'd be watching the news in Canada talking about, 2,200 American soldiers were killed today in Kuwait or wherever. And I would watch the same news from America saying no Americans were killed, in this war so far. And it's like, wait a minute, but Canadian TV said one thing, American TV is saying something else. It never crossed my mind that media would lie or that the government would give false information until I moved to Montreal and saw it with my own eyes. I saw it firsthand and I'm like, wait, this is crazy.
So you saw the programming.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Wow.
And it not only shocked me, but Panda, it devastated me because it took away the rose-colored glasses. Like
Right.
that reality was bitter. It was
like a Matrix, waking up from the Matrix kind of situation.
Yes, because you don't believe that somebody could be so blatant. Like, first of all, how did they get away with it?
I know.
But they did. And then, of course, when I would tell my friends, they'd be like, that's not true. No troops have died. It's like, okay, whatever. History has shown the truth now. And the Canadian news was accurate.
Well, maybe that's why when you were growing up, you never cared about the news because you didn't want to be lied to. Somehow, like you just like were meant.
Maybe I picked it up. Like maybe intuition said they're lying. I don't know. I don't really remember caring about the news.
Mm-hmm. Well, you eventually moved back to New York and now you have all this money to do whatever you want, right? Do you immediately think about the Rap Coalition?
Nope. I volunteered at the African National Congress, which had just been legalized at that point in time. And by legalized, I mean they were accepted by the United Nations as the political body from South Africa, right? This is the end of apartheid, which is a huge deal, especially in New York. So I was volunteering for them for a while. I was taking classes at Columbia University. It's funny, my whole life, even today, I always resort to taking classes. Like I love knowledge, I love learning. And back then, even though I had money, I didn't want the degree. I just wanted the education. So I was auditing classes, right? And at Columbia University, you couldn't audit. So I was crashing classes. And we would be like halfway through the semester, inevitably the teacher would call me up to the front of the room and be like, okay, who are you? You're not on my class roll. And I'd be like, oh, I don't know what the mistake was, and they always let me stay because I guess they figured if you're crazy enough to want to learn and you're not taking the tests and you're not part of the class, but you're here every day that there's a class, I'm not going to stop you. So
you're not getting credit for it.
I never got kicked out. I didn't care about the credit. At that point, I had an undergraduate degree in graphic design. I had an MBA and I had a master's in AFAM studies. I didn't need another degree. The degrees are useless to me. They're paper, right? What mattered to me was the knowledge and the education. So I was taking classes in international marketing, international business, because I was also, as I said, volunteering for the ANC. So I was getting a really good understanding of international politics and the role that America was playing in the world. I had already seen from living in Canada that we were bullshit in terms of our news. We were just saying stuff to control the masses, but it was just very eye-opening to really learn. And the instructors at Columbia are like the top of the food chain. So I was learning from some really learned, amazing people. It was incredible. It was an incredible time. I learned a lot. I worked on a film. There was an Iranian director. I don't remember his name or the name of the film, but I volunteered to work on a film. And then I took a class at the New School that I paid for. And it was on the music business. And that's where the idea for Rap Coalition came into fruition. It was taught by a guy named Bert Padell, and Sid Weinstein. Sid was one of the people that discovered the Beatles, and Burt Podell was like an accountant to the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was trying to figure out where I knew that name from.
Yep. Biggie mentions him in a song. He says, stash more cash than Burt Podell in hell. So Burt was an accountant to the stars. At that time, he handled Madonna, Luther Vandross, Russell Simmons. That's like the equivalent today of Taylor Swift, Drake, and Ed Sheeran. Like, to put it in, or Sabrina Carpenter, to put it into perspective.
Right.
Like, he was the superstar guy, the go-to guy. And I learned from him that rappers were being unfairly taken advantage of. And that was my favorite music. I was 30 years old and I was pissed. And I had money. And I knew I didn't care if I lost all that money, because at that point in time, I wasn't fueled by money anymore, right? Like, money didn't matter to me. It was a tool. And I remember thinking, okay, I can start this not-for-profit to help rappers, and I'll just do it for a few years, and then I'll go get a real job and I'll make money again. So I didn't care about losing all of my savings, because I knew I could just go get it again. Or I thought I could, right? And I probably could have. It's never been tested, so I don't know if I could have or not, but I like to think that I could have. And I haven't looked back. That was 33 years ago. And I'm still running Rap Coalition. It's still a not-for-profit. I do have I have a bunch of for-profit companies in addition to the not-for-profit, because I, like to eat and I like having a roof over my head. So there's that. But I have the coolest job in the world, because I get to help artists make money with their music.
Right.
And it's phenomenal.